The period under review was quite challenging because, as you could remember, it was the year of the World Cup, but it was the year during which all of the assets that we had been developing for the last 4 years were coming into operation. In fact, we had just finished by, I remember, around May 1, if not April, we completed the terminal in Cape Town and we completed King Shaka, which meant that when we opened this year under review, we had about 15 billion of assets coming into operation. And as you know, we didn't have a permission, which is the regulator's allowance to ACSA to levy a certain level of tariffs to the industry for passenger fees, for lending fees, and so on. The absence of a remuneration folio that remunerates the assets properly has meant that we were chasing too big a number, and with a lot of once-offs, really. So, but I'm glad that we managed to reduce it to 220.
Tariffs account for around 62% of your aeronautical revenue, and of course it's a key revenue driver for ACSA. The wrangling around tariffs has been hugely contentious. What is your take in terms of the delay of the regulator toward ACSA tariff increases?
I think what makes it very contentious is that it sounds as though the positions are, people have taken a position that they can't move on. But when you looked at the returns, I mean, you looked at our ROCE, when your regulator determines that you should be achieving X in terms of ROCE minimum, and you've done everything, and you can't achieve it year on year because you're expected to pre-fund on your balance sheet. I think for us that's the main change in our regulatory regime. That entire 15 billion of debt was financed on our balance sheet. I think people still pay on a departure level 56 rand to travel domestically, or still under 100, substantially under 100 rand. And when you look at how South Africans travel, it's much higher. I'm not saying that is reason enough to increase it, but just to show you that 100 rand increase, or let's say 100 rand fee, will not disincentivize a middle-class employed human being from traveling to a meeting.
Can you just give us an idea of what type of competition ACSA faces from smaller airports?
I think within South Africa, we are responsible for about 98% of the South African market in terms of traffic. So there isn't competition, not even from Lanseria. What we tend to see is a complementarity that is beginning to emerge, which just makes the space more efficient. It's when you start talking about regional competitiveness, whether an airline leaving Frankfurt will choose whether to land in Nigeria before coming to South Africa and so on, that you position our major airports to be way ahead, to maximize their first mover advantage, because we're in the southern tip. Having said that, there are other opportunities south-south that we need to start exploring to see the extent to which, if an SAA is enabled, if a BA Comma is enabled, maybe we can have another way to anchor our hub on the south. So internally, there isn't really competition. We are already a dominant player. It is when you move regionally that you start seeing competition.
As you bow out after 10 years at ACSA, do you feel that the company is in a solid enough position in order to manage itself through a period of sustained sluggish global growth?
We are a very resilient company because we are diversified in terms of the sources of income. Right now, with a bad economic regulation, the non-aeronautical side held us strong. That's what scenario planning has helped us to do.